Well, I've taken a really strange shortcut and come back here, I think. If we come back out here to our little trek down here, that's amazing. That is just an incredible shortcut that I don't think I've ever taken before. A shortcut that's completely, yep, we come back there, that shortcut there is taken right out the normal area I normally go to. That is amazing. As I said, so this is the first time I've basically walked this way in this particular pattern in 20, 24, 25 years sort of thing. Isn't that amazing? So you can understand how, when I first got here, you could so easily get lost in here. Because after 25 years of going here, you know, a few times every year, and knowing most of the paths, I've today, while rambling onto you lot over there, have taken a slightly different variation of the pathway and totally gone somewhere else. Meandered my way between paths sort of thing, via other tracks. Isn't that amazing? So yeah. So basically, what you basically got a group of plants. See, most normal plants use iron and copper. Basically, the iron is used to put the magnesium atom into the centre of the chlorophyll molecule, and the proteins that allow the production of the iron use copper. But these plants, CPs and what appears to be like rhubarb and rumex and all those other things that are related to them, and probably cycads and palms in general, I suppose, appear to want to be using manganese and nickel. You know, the nickel is like a substitute in a way for the copper, and the manganese is a substitute, or is the secondary form of iron. Because if you go back to the old books, yeah, really go back to hit the old books around the time of all this study on the basic nutrition of plants in general, they talk about manganese being a second form of iron, if you pick that up in these old books. And now it all seems to, they seem to be, well, yes, I mean, they picked that up back then, but they probably didn't know what to do with it. But now we do. If you link manganese as a second form of iron to nickel, you now look at CPs in a totally different way. You look at them as manganese nickel plants, and the chromium is a way of inducing iron deficiency, so they sort of like switch over to this second form of metabolism. So yes, they're normal plants in quotes, but they have a kind of like alterable metabolism. So things like gunnerer and things like that, if you want to switch them over into large growth, you've basically got to make them iron deficient, so they start using manganese and nickel. And one way of doing that is give them very dilute additions of chromium, very dilute, just enough to, you know, make the plants look sick. And suddenly, if you've got the other elements in the soil and around, and you've done all the other bells and whistles and things, they'll switch over. But as I said, I only had half the story back in on the other side of the new millennium, and then I spent 10 years going round in circles until really to uncover the other side of the story. You know, the other side of the coin. I was basically going around the milling, you know, going round and round the milling of the coin, not really seeing the other side of the coin. It's only now, by going back and back again to calcium and copper, and keep going back and back, discovering new subtle things about those two, and finally cracked it, and suddenly you realise, that's where the nitrogen is coming from. Now can we do it? And then you can make a soil that now fixes nitrogen from the atmosphere, just like it happens in the real world, out in the wild, and the soil becomes darker and darker and becomes brown like peat, and with the same sort of colour as peat. And you think, aha, well, here we go. As you say, look at that, that's there's one there coming out. As they will now expand now that the rain's got here. These plants here, and there's another bud there. It's probably, might even be a Whittakerite bud there outside. Some still in flower there. But what I'm going to go now is, as I said before, I said in the past, once I got the answer, I was going to go back and prove it by growing rhubarb, because, you know, I'll start a new clip.